Okay. Oh, might help if I'm straight. Hello. And I got one more over there. Okay, speech number 4, sweet potato harvesting on a small farm. Most anyone can say that at one point in their lives they've tasted one of the many treats that can be made from the common sweet potato. For many folks, the bite of early fall sparks great enthusiasm, and the desire to travel to a local farmer's market or a neighboring farm to get their box of sweet potatoes is no less than a necessity. The harvesting of sweet potatoes marks the much anticipated holidays drawing near, and these holidays to many are never complete without a few of the best sweet potato confections and dishes. Who could resist a piece of Grandma's homemade sweet potato pie or a sinfully delicious pile of candied sweet potatoes and casseroles we are actually allowed to eat before dessert? Our family has been raising an increasingly larger garden every year, and one of the main fall crops is sweet potatoes. Though the plants themselves require very little maintenance, the harvesting of these delicate tubers of the Morning Glory family are a little bit more laboring. Though there are many methods of harvesting sweet potatoes, I'd like to take a few minutes to demonstrate to you our family's method of harvesting on our small farm. When it comes to harvesting sweet potatoes, you want to be well prepared and be sure to pick a nice dry day. You will be running your tractor up and down rows as well as running through the dirt, so it's best to, if the soil is good and dry. The first step will be cutting the vines of the sweet potatoes. This is to help ensure that the vines do not wrap around and tangle around the plows as you dig them up. The vines, as shown in these pictures here, okay, they show, sorry, that they cover the ground very well because they are part of the Morning Glory family, so they can be a bit tangling. They can, they kind of overtake the ground. So you need to be sure that you have somebody that can get out there and get down to the very bottom, to the ground, to the top of the sweet potato to cut those vines right at the top of the surface potatoes, okay, or the top of the rows if the potatoes aren't surfaced yet. This procedure can be a bit time consuming, and it takes careful attention to not step on surface potatoes, as well as steady hands to ensure that no damage is caused to the potatoes by the gloves, the nails of the hand, or by the scissors or whatever, knife or whatever you're using to cut the vines. Once all the vines have been cut, you're going to have somebody behind you coming in with a rake to pull all of those vines away so that the rows are exposed and the tractor will be able to get down that row to pull the potatoes up. Then the rows are ready. Okay. Depending on the size of the crop, a middle buster will usually be suitable for harvesting. This is a pointed plow and is located under the tractor in the middle front just ahead of the driver's seat. As shown in this picture here, you can see the plows are right here located underneath the middle part of the tractor, okay, and they are pointed as shown in this picture here, and they're going to be what gets right down in that middle of the row, and they're going to pull the potatoes up so that they can roll to the side. The driver will jump on the tractor and line his plows with the row center, and the helper is always near to help guide the driver and move any produce that may jeopardize the blades, may be jeopardized by the blades or the tires. Once the tractor is in line, the driver will lower the plow just ahead of the start of the row and move forward to push the sweet potatoes to the surface. And that's shown in this picture here. You can see where he's actually going down the row and the potatoes are becoming exposed and they're starting to roll off to the side. Some of the potatoes may clump up and tangle up around the plow, and so somebody will actually need to go up there and get those untangled off of the plow so that the plow can continue to keep going forward and you don't ruin the potato. Once plowed, the potatoes will come to the top and roll to the side, as I said, and a field worker will pick up the row, scratching out and placing roots in a pile. Scratching, you're going to have to go and pull some of those partially exposed potatoes because they're not all going to be pulled up, so somebody might have to actually go down there and dig them up. Plows will not expose all the roots, so it is up to the field workers to scratch out partially exposed potatoes, and in our case, the driver will return over the row again in an opposite direction to salvage the remaining hidden potatoes. We do this because sometimes the potatoes are too deep, and if you go back the opposite direction, you have a better chance of pulling up some of those hidden potatoes. And the University of Tifton Agricultural Department states that research shows 20% of marketable potatoes are left buried in the ground, and this is caused by field workers not willing to scratch out the partially buried potatoes. We've kind of made it a little easier on ourselves by taking the tractor back around in the opposite direction and help pulling them up. Granted, some are probably still left behind, but we try to get as many of them up as possible. After all the rows of potatoes have been dug and redug, the team will then need to store their harvest to allow them to cure, and the curing process takes about 2 weeks in a storage that will keep them at 80 to 90% relative humidity. This process is essential in allowing the sugars to redistribute throughout the potato and ensures a delicate sweetness upon consumption. You want to make sure that you always put, if you've ever seen a raw sweet potato after harvest and you cut it and that milky stuff comes out of the skin out of the potato, those are the sugars, and if you allow them to go through the curing process, those sugars will actually redistribute inside of the potato and become sweeter as they age. So it's a much better potato, it's a much better quality of potato if you let it cure the entire 2 weeks as it's supposed to. Once the potatoes have cured, then they are ready to be eaten. And potatoes are usually graded during the harvesting process in groups A and B. If you will be marketing your potatoes to markets, you will want to have more grade A potatoes than grade B. A potatoes will be your small, round, baker-sized potatoes that are normally what you see in the store. If you were to go to the grocery, you're going to see a big bin of the grade A potatoes. Grade B is everything else, such as this monster right here. This is a grade B potato. This is our 11-pound sweet potato that we harvested this year. We actually had a 15-pounder, but this is the 11-pounder. And this is definitely one big sweet potato. This isn't something you're going to find as a rule inside of a store. It's not a size that your consumers usually desire because they want to make more sweet potato pies and small, individual servings. But one that we desire because we found as a family, it's wonderful. We can bake these potatoes on a low, slow heat and then cut it open, add our toppings, and serve 10 right out of the halves. Okay, so this completes the process of our small farm sweet potato harvesting, an activity that has proven to be fun, family activity, and one in which we plan to continue for years to come. When fall comes every year, I know I get to look forward to joining my family in reaping a delicious food that can be stored for months and used for so many dishes. Sweet potatoes offer a variety of nutrients and are also among the foods that are recommended for diabetics due to the low glycemic index. In cases of diabetics, we actually get to eat have our pie and eat it too. After all, who wouldn't want to taste the sweet yumminess of a red jewel straight out of the East Texas sand?
Mommy, I didn't get my fries.
Thank you.
Mommy, I didn't get my fries.